Man, talk about not giving up. If you told me a few years back that Bleach is going to be finished after all the drama, Kugo's health, and ND controversy, I'd recommend you to see a specialist, but here we are. Just like the Strawberry Boy, it comes back stronger and with a new transmog. So while I wait to binge the whole thing, let us go back to some things you've missed or didn't understand in its original run. Hello comrade, my name is Mahis. Come, get yourself a beverage and sit down with me, we got some laundry to do. Just in case you didn't get what I implied, this video will be dedicated to the events that happened before the German invasion. Consequently, this is a line I draw for spoilers. Nothing that is happening after Ichigo gets his powers back for the second damn time gets featured in this video. However, don't blame me for drawing certain conclusions based on what we've seen prior, as foreshadowing is definitely a thing here. Why don't we start with something light and refreshing? Remember the good old times when Rukia was the damsel in distress? How the entire Seriete was against our squad and the grass was greener in general? Yeah, also Byakuya, Pain in Yasukuchiki, used to be a total dick until Talk no Jutsu said otherwise. He literally went from "I'll kill you myself if I have to" "protect this dude at all costs" in a matter of minutes. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but this is a situation he found himself in thanks to the way he lived his life, and it's quite tragic. It all started as it always does, with a woman. The men fell in love, yet what should have been a joyous occasion was short-lived. You see, it's against the law for nobility to marry people from Rukon district, and since their code has only like 13 major rules, this was a very big deal that somehow happened anyway. So, they lived happily for a bit after and Hisada died, asking Husbando to find his sister-in-law and take care of her. That didn't take long, and a year after Rukia was accepted into the clan by breaking the laws again, this time of the clan itself. For that reason, Byakuya later swore on his parents' grave to never break rules again, resulting in a persona we all love to hate. His mindset was, if I, as the highest rank, don't follow the rules, nobody else will, and the recent events reinforced it to such a degree that he would let his wife's sister die in the name of order. He wanted to protect her, to do something about it, but he just couldn't because he was so torn between two promises. Good thing that some teenage rascal showed him the way, helping him realize that law is imperfect and can be argued against from time to time. Have you ever asked yourself,
what is that? What the fuck is that?
I know I did, because this is Black Clover levels of Aspel here. These are normal humans. Granted, one incredibly built and one ridiculously tough, but still humans. Last time I checked, to gain powers you had to be of a certain lineage or penetrated by a special magic device. From this point, we somewhat descend into headcanon territory. But I'll argue that this is legit since the Big Brain himself proposed this and it makes the most amount of sense. Them being close to Rukia, as well as desiring some form of abilities, activated Hogioku and it manifested whatever this is. I struggle to speak already, no way I'm pronouncing that. Many people forget that this Dragon Ball was hidden inside her by one stripy hat, in the hopes of concealing it from the rest of the world as he couldn't destroy it. We all know how that turned out, so let's talk about what it does. Basically, it absorbs the desires of those around it and brings them into reality. Sounds OP, and it is, that's why Urahara wanted to get rid of it. However, it does have limitations, otherwise we would have had 5 freaking Ichigos who keep leveling up a few times an arc. As for wish granting, Aizen wanted to elevate himself to a higher plane of existence, so here's the fusion confusion. Inoue wanted to save Tatsuki and Chad wanted to beat enigmatic entities. Sure, this little shiny responded and gave him some cool new tricks. Although, one can say their powers are like full-bringing, which in turn are a type of hollow powers. I say it may very much be the case, since Hogioku is very good at blurring the lines between species, so it may be a slightly different way of getting there. One thing that I was always confused about is how the Soul Society functions. Like, sure, they got Seirei and Rukon Gai, a place in the middle is where Shinigami live and the rest is 50 shades of fuck. You mean to tell me that people die, come to this place and then live their own lives till the end of times? Well, this system is a bit strange, but it does follow a pattern. When a human soul divorces the body, it's the Reaper's job to perform a rite to send him to Soul Society. Once the spirit enters the afterlife, it's transported to a random place in Rukon district to continue to exist until one of two possibilities happen. It either dies again, in which case the hard drive is wiped and is reincarnated as a new human, or it lives long enough to become a Shinigami. What's interesting is that here, souls can do basically everything they did when they were alive, including having children. I guess that helps to maintain the balance between two worlds, since you want to keep the inflow and outflow relatively even, and it's impossible when the Earth population is increasing. Actually, that will also account for souls turning into Reapers, as... Wait a second. What if the reason behind most of the Rukongai being so miserable with crime and shit is to encourage the flow of souls? Like, if they won't die, they won't reincarnate, and the whole thing goes out the window. Shit. No wonder somebody wants to do something about this. Okay, on the topic of very convoluted systems, we got to cover our favorite Ginger Soul Reaper. For starters, he's a dude who can see spirits and is totally chill about it, until one night he's put into a situation where he has to accept a new energy source and become a substitute Soul Reaper. All is good, but he gets humbled by a real one and has to start from the beginning, this time with his own abilities, which he has thanks to his dad being a Shinigami. In the process though, he acquires another power, a Hollow's Mask, that gives him a Berserk type mode, but in fact takes over his body. 3-day banzai bullshit, as well as some lost fights later, he learns to control the Hollow and becomes a Visor. Blah blah blah, lose to Ulquiorra here, lose to Ulquiorra there, Kurosaki-kun, and he is a Vasta Lord. Then, somewhere in between, he goes to Hell, becomes a king real quick, and after the dust settles, he loses his power again. Some peaceful time has passed, and he goes to the Sus bar to waste his time training to be a Fullbringer, as, unbeknownst to him, the squad pulls up to stab him once more, except this time with everybody's juice to make him a true Shinigami? Damn. Ichigo Kurosaki, your friendly neighborhood Soul Reaper, as well as Visor, Vasta Lord, King of fucking Hell, Fullbringer, and somehow that is still not everything. Here's a little hint. I don't consider this a spoiler simply because we've seen it so many times, and if you didn't put 2 and 2 together, you're just like me, since I had no idea until I gave it a thought literally a year or two ago. Speaking of thoughts that go way back, I want to conclude this video with something grand. Eisen planned everything. Like literally, from before the show started and probably till after it ended. He went to great lengths for his ambitions, which I dare say were quite noble. This menace to society wanted to become a divine/transcendent being to correct this flawed system. He didn't come to this overnight, but this was his goal for the majority of time. To do that, he created his own Philosopher's Stone, experimented with Hollows and Shinigami alike, all while staying undercover. After almost a century, he realized that he hit a wall and couldn't progress any further, so the only sensible thing was to steal someone else's work and combine it with his own. As I've said earlier, one crafty cat enjoyer had a Hogioku too, which was sealed away and required either a giant flaming chicken or first Hokage powers to extract it. For that, Eisen impersonated the council, framed Ruki and all that jazz, but here's a problem. Even after all the Arankars, he still wasn't close to divinity, and that's where Ichigo comes into play. Yes, I did bring him up for a reason. He's a very big part of Fake Glass's schemes. Unfortunately, some of it is explained in the coming arc, so we'll focus on the other stuff. You see, this thing has a consciousness, and the dude was waking it up by doing all these transformations to later use the fight between him and Strawberry as a reason to evolve. Almost like, who is this dude to stand up to us, let's beat and eat his ass. You've heard that right, by the way. Eisen needed to consume an actual Deus Ex Machina to become one himself. That's why he basically engineered him and staged all of his encounters. Why did he lose then? Well, it's open to interpretation, but I think it's because subconsciously he wanted to lose and Hogioku delivered. Maybe it's because he was disgusted with his own actions, or never truly wanted this in the first place. Regardless, Aizen-sama doesn't always miscalculate, but when he does, he doesn't. It was I, Mahis, being manipulative into the microphone. Have a great, whatever time of the day you have. Until next time, cheers.